Hello, my name is Benji and welcome to Dice vs Cards. Today we continue our look at Marvel Champions with a list of 10 tips to up your Marvel gameplay. These will be constituted of largely beginner tips to get you closer to making more optimal plays, but there'll be some tricks and useful information that even more veteran players may find useful. So here we go from 1 to 10. Number 1 is a tip that's as old as time, but that's to mulligan wisely. No matter what your starting hand, your only consideration is what cards you'll be playing on your first turn. Everything else in your hand, no matter how much you might love it, is just resources to play the 1, maybe 2, and rarely 3 cards right out of the gates. So long as you have impactful cards that you can empty your hand for, leave things as is. On the other end of the spectrum though, if you're an identity or a build that's highly dependent on specific cards, then mulligan heavily to see more of your deck. Similarly, if you have ramp cards that become more efficient the longer they're in play, be sure to dig for them too. Number 2. Resist the temptation to hold on to each and every one of your favourite cards. 8-9 times out of 10, the most optimal turn involves you using all the cards in your hand. That's just the way card efficiency works. There are a number of minority cases, like when you're switching from alter ego to hero or vice versa, that necessitate holding onto a card for a super duper next turn. But for the most part, your first priority is to play the best card or cards in your hand, and only secondarily hold on to those that you feel will have a positive impact either in the villain phase or on your next turn. Number 3 is more of a trick that helps you to calculate whether you have enough resources to do what you want to do in a given turn. Ever found yourself thinking you had enough but you were 1 short? That's probably because you're not factoring in the card you play. One way to deal with this is to get into the habit of adding 1 to the resource cost found on the card. For example, you have a full hand of 5, none of which are twofers, and you've got a couple of 2 cost cards in your hand. Using this technique, they both cost 3, leaving you needing 6 cards to cast both, which, as we've already ascertained, you do not have. If you've got any passive discount cards or resource generators already in play, just treat them like an extra card in the above example. Number 4. Wherever possible, and really do try and manufacture this, level up the villain as near to the start of the player turn as possible. Most, if not all of the time, you're going to be facing a ramp up in villain power and or extra things to deal with. So do anything non-essential outside of giving yourself a health point cushion after you see what the villain's got up his sleeve for the next part of the scenario. This will become common knowledge the more you play, but when playing blind for the first time, this is the only way to go. Number 5. Always be sure to carry out a quick mental assessment of what form you need to be in to play cards from your hand or use those on board. This is a game that heavily rewards proper sequencing, and you'll be surprised how many steps you need to take on your turn in the right order to get everything done. And so ensuring you're in the right form when you do is a good way to stop the inevitable, "Oh, shuttlecocks, can I just run that back please?" Number 6. Most games of Marvel Champions should be approached in terms of the cards you play into 2 phases. The setting the scene phase and the pulling the trigger phase. Practically speaking, that means you want to establish a decent board before you start progressing towards the victory condition. Whether it's allies on the table or upgrades to your identity, you always want a healthy amount of tools at your disposal to maximise forward momentum, largely in the form of damage, but to a lesser extent threat removal, but also the ability to protect your identity. You'll find that this can often reset during a scenario as you lose allies and upgrades, so be cognizant of the need to rebuild when this happens. Number 7. As a very general rule, the longer you stay in hero form, the more proactive you are in progressing towards the win condition. But always consider the potential scheming and damage value of villains, and any minions that are on board. letting that help your decision making as to what form your identity will be in come the villain phase. If you're staring down the barrel of a heck of a lot of damage, you can effectively get a free turn at trying to deal with that problem if you flip back to alter ego form. Take some scheming on the chin and then deal with it the next turn if and when you flip back to hero form. Number 8. Using allies is not as simple as playing them and turning them sideways every turn. Most of the time, if an ally can do 2 or more damage or even thwarting, then it's appropriate to use them. But when you've got a 1 of each ally, or for example a 2 thwart 1 damage guy, but there's no threat to deal with, then don't automatically use the 1. Save it maybe for a time where it makes the difference and is the final damage required to defeat a minion or level up a villain. And as a final note, it's good practice to put an ally on tank duty as soon as they're on 1 remaining health. Soaking 3 or more damage is a more effective use of your buddy than applying 2 damage. Unless again it's the difference maker in finishing something off. Number 9. It's a safe assumption that your heroes are not out to mislead or trick you. If their stat line indicates that one of their basic powers is better than another, then that should be what you primarily use. For example, if your thwart is higher than your attack, then clearly using the power of the thwart results in the most efficient play. Or if there's no threat, well, don't automatically do the thing that's straight in front of your nose and attack. It's likely more optimal to defend if health is an issue, or switch back to alter ego form to take advantage of any abilities and the increased card draw. All the while baiting out some extra threat in the villain phase for you to deal with on the next turn. The same goes for when your defend ability is the highest. Don't be afraid to do just that. Again, for the simple reason that you're getting the most return for turning your card sideways. Number 10 is more of a word of warning and highlights the primary difference between solo and multiplayer. Your 1 win condition being the damage you need to deal to the villain scales with player count. But of your 2 personal loss conditions, only the villain's scheme threshold scales that way. The damage you take does not. The biggest takeaway from this difference is that the villain scheming tends to be a great deal more swingy in solo play. The main reason for that is that when you're in alter ego form and playing solo, 100% of your team will be facing a scheming villain. But in multiplayer it's more unlikely for this to be the case, and so this results in the need for you to stay in hero form more often if you're playing solo than it does multiplayer. So there you have it, 10 tips for you to up your comic book card game skills. I do hope you find them useful in your time at the table. Stay tuned for more Marvel Champions content. However, that's it from me. I'll see you next time.
Next time aja lah, tidak usah kapan-kapan.
T.
Lucu sekali orang itu.
Lucu sekali.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Marvel Legendary. Today we got Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel, there she is, going up against Klaw. We got pretty lucky with our top our top enemy, Defense Network's in play. Let's see our opening hand, shall we?
We are pretty lucky.
Menang gak deh? Cepet banget kan?
It is a bit
Pretty lucky.
lackluster, but I do think we want the card advantage going into...
Pretty lucky.
Actually, we'll keep the power protection, because we can use it for the momentum shift.
Skip video ini kalau kamu gak pernah burnout. Pikiran dan badan ngedrop bikin kita...
Hello.
Oh, sorry. We're going to use this ability first, until we get a Miss Marvel card.
We are gonna use this.
Big hands is perfect. I think we can win this turn, to be honest. Because no one has guard. All right, I think we got the win. So we'll reduce the cost. Next card we play by 1. Flip this over. drop this here. We'll play big hands to attack for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then like we can even flex a bit and sneak by. Clear this out. And then the last thing we can do is use this power protection. Clear this out.
Shitake, shitake.
And then the last thing we can do is use this power protection to play momentum shift to heal 2 damage from us and knock Klaw down to 0. See you, buddy. And you were.
I can.
Hello. More stressful than Rhino, which was a good. But we win.
Good.
He's gone. We'll spend a science energy to go airborne. I don't know if I've already actually done that yet, but we can do that here. And then honestly, we just like spend 2 resources. Supersonic punch, claw for 8. Retaliate 1. Ow!
My name is Benji from 1 to 10.
Muligane itu artinya apa sih? Google Translate. Muligan. Muligan. Apaan? Muligan artinya muligan.
Mulligans.
Mulligan.
Iya, muligan artinya apa, Mbak? Arti muligan. Decknya udah nge-shuffle deck kita, draw 1 kartu, udah nge-recovery to damage to an enemy. Permainan saya yang kurang optimal gitu ya, jadi makanya kita harus latihan tuh biar kita bisa semakin mengoptimalisasi gitu. Apa-apa kartu yang layak kita buang, apa kartu yang harus kita gunain duluan. Nggak usah takut sayang atau gimana, pikirin strategi dengan baik gitu sih. Ya, itu dia pertandingan antara Captain Marvel Standard Deck melawan Ulysses Klaw, dimenangkan mutlak. Sebentar. Steam tabletop Marvel Champions. Dark Speed. Dark Speed kok belum ini? Kayaknya udah Dark Speed, coba cek dulu. Workshop kita lihat ya. Subscribed items. Oh, bagus ini yang Dark Speed. Dari mana ya? Champions Complete Edition. Ini dia. Update-nya setahun yang lalu, 29 Juli 2021. It's stable. It's stable. It's stable. Nggak bisa sih. Tuh 19 Juli ini baru nih di update nih. Kemarin. Kok nggak bisa ya? Wah, si Spider udah masukin sama dia. Marvel Champions hit stable. Malah nggak dapet gua. Pas update nggak bisa dicari. Sedang stable. Nah, ini yang terbaru nih, bisa kita pakai nih. Subscribe. Oke, mantap, bos. Close.